All right, mi gente, this is Rosangel Pérez, and today's subject is Governor Hochul, New York's vaccine dictator, AI spies in your car, shots fired at the WHCD, the White House Correspondents' Dinner, featuring Michael Caine from Teachers for Choice. All right, mi gente, you know what to do. Please like, share, subscribe, and tell a friend that Cafecito Break is live on YouTube, X, and Rumble. And I'm your host, Rosangel Perez. Here is Mark for NY and Cozy, our co-host. And I'm going to pass it on at this time to Mark for NY to introduce himself.
Hello, fellow freedom-loving Americans. The tyranny continues. Instead of flying cars in 2027, we're going to have spying cars. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. Lots of tyranny going on. No surprise, we've got nonstop tyranny from our dictators in office. But before we get into that, background on me: I ran for office, city council, state assembly, and U.S. Senate in 2021 and 22. Freedom fighter, fighting against the mandates in New York and elsewhere, standing up for the people, regardless of whether I'm running for office or not. And I'm on Mark for NY on all social media platforms. My two freedom fighter family members are my co-hosts, including the one and only Cozy's Wellness. Welcome, Cozy.
What's going on, everybody? This is Cozy, former healthcare worker that was fired for refusing the COVID vaccine, proudly fired. And I've been a health freedom activist since about 2009, and I've been fighting ever since. So we're going to talk about the vaccine tyranny. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we are in a war. They've declared war on our bodies. They've declared war on our freedom, and they don't want to stop. So it's up to you, and we're going to tell you what you can do today. So stay tuned. Share this with your friends. It's going to be a powerful transmission. We need to let you know how to fight back. And we need to fight back, and not only fight back, but we need to defeat them. So tune in, listen in, and we're going to do our best to defeat these tyrants.
Well, I'd like to start with just letting everybody know that we really appreciate that your time here, and that our space here Monday nights is not meant for us to just chit chat and, be lazy fair, but we want to remind you that it is imperative, especially if you live in New York, to pay attention to some of these things, because they literally affect all of our lives, whether we're talking about health freedom, surveillance, as we will get into a little bit later, and also just this encroachment on all of our liberties, and just even the ability to move from point A to point B. And I know everyone's tired. Believe me, we all know that. But please hang on in there. Take a moment right now. Our special guest will be Michael Caine, and he'll be joining us shortly. But first, I'd like to play a video of an action that took place in Albany about 3 years ago in New York Assembly Committee when they voted against the parents. So again, this was 3 years ago, and this was an organic moment that happened after the end of the meeting. Cozy, do you want to say anything about this video before or after we play it?
Yeah, I'll comment afterwards.
Okay, all right, mi gente, let me just cue it up. Okay, let me bring it up to the screen.
Are so full of crap. So full of crap. Who do you work for? Do you work for the people? Do you work for the government? What are you guys doing? Some of us here lost our jobs about this, and you guys don't even care. And you can afford that. You guys are a bunch of traitors. You got children. All of you guys are grandchildren. You guys are disgusting. Every single one of you are putting gas for their children. Every single one of you. You came in with a mask on, and then you want to put a mask on here. What are you doing here?
Wow.
That was just to let you guys know, about 3 years ago, that was the health committee, and they didn't want us to be in that room. They were trying to lie to us, telling us that it was a private meeting. We let them know there's no such thing as a private meeting. This is a public meeting because we pay for this building. We pay for your seats. So this is not private. So they were shocked that we were there. They were trying to get rid of us. They tried to pull all these stunts. They tried to tell us that it was against fire code. There was too many of us. They tried to pull all the stops. But thank God we had Rita Palma there. We had John Gilmore there. We had all our warriors there who know the law, know the rules. We cannot be fooled, okay? That was about giving minors consent. If I remember correctly, it was about the minor consent bill. They wanted to give minors the right to choose, like what vaccines they can get. These people are lawless criminals, okay? Children cannot make decisions for themselves. Children cannot even get a tattoo. Children cannot see a rated R movie at the movie theater, not even get an ear piercing. What are these people talking about? We're going to allow them to inject poison into their body? Are we kidding? So that's why we were there. That same energy, we need to bring that energy back, right? Bring that energy back, and we need to get loud. These people are not going away. They work in the shadows. We need to be awake at all times. So I'm calling on all you out there listening to get involved immediately. Call, email, show up to their offices, their district offices, and demand a meeting. Demand that they stop. Right now, we have 5 bills that just passed through the assembly in the speed of light, right? Very quick. And they're ready to ram these through because they know that they have to do it all at once, because if they do it just with 1 or 2 bills, they know we're going to bring the resistance. So right now they're rushing so they don't have to deal with us, but they're going to deal with us one way or another. Okay, and we're going to talk about this. So I'm going to bring a few of these bills so you guys understand. So what just passed right now in the assembly, we have a chance to stop it in the Senate. They have a legal immunity bill, okay? This is what passed, A9-140. Right now we need to stop, and Michael Caine will bring it up again. S9604, that's giving New York State legal immunity. So anybody who administers a vaccine will get legal immunity. Because why they're bringing this up is because right now New York State has chosen to disregard the federal government, right? Recently, the ACIP committee said that they're not recommending the vaccine schedule as it was, right? They made a few changes. And one of the changes was it's up to the patient and the doctor, right? They don't like this. So the minute you don't follow the federal regulations, you are now no longer covered by the vaccine injury compensation program. That law that told you, that gave immunity to pharma, they're no longer protected. So they needed to sneak this bill to protect them. Okay? These people are despicable, disgusting, lawless criminals, and they need to be stopped. Next bill, hepatitis B. The dumbest thing that they passed in the assembly. Okay, this is now the Senate side, which we need to stop. S5724. The reason this is the dumbest thing ever is because if you're infected, if you have a hepatitis B infection, okay, legally, you cannot be thrown out of school because it would be called discrimination. But if you're perfectly healthy and just happen to not be vaccinated with the hepatitis B vaccine, they will kick you out of school. Make it make sense. You know that this is not about health. This is about pharma and big money. So that's the talking point. I need you guys to run tomorrow, don't delay, go to your district office and raise hell. Tell them they need to stop. You're going to do it in a peaceful manner, but you're going to be firm. You're going to let them know that we are watching you and we are not going to go away, and we're going to give you a migraine. We're not going to let you just be comfortable. We're not going to do it. Next, adult vaccine database bill. Again, they passed it in the assembly. What they want to do is track and trace every single vaccine out, whoever's got vaccinated, who hasn't, and they don't want to give you, basically, they won't even ask for your permission. They're just going to enter you in the database. This is very dangerous, and they're going to set this up so they could punish you in the future, just like they punished us during COVID. When you haven't gotten vaccinated, they're going to maybe tell you, you can't fly, you can't work, you can't go to school, you're going to be cast out of society. We're not playing these games anymore. These are old games. And then Hochul's power grab, which unfortunately passed in the Assembly and Senate. Michael Caine will talk to you more about that, but basically she will be allowed to mandate any vaccine she wants to children. And I'm not sure if it's adults, but right now I know it's for children. She'll be able to create whatever schedule she wants. Who is this woman? Like a straight up dictator. She has no medical degree. She has nothing like that. How is she going to tell us, denounce what CDC, ACIP said? She just wants to do what she wants. And just perfect timing right now. We have the amazing Michael Caine, my brother here, and he's going to tell you more about these bills and things we can do to stop these tyrants. What's going on, Michael?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, loud and clear.
Sorry, sorry to hop in late. My 5-year-old son still requires a lot to actually fall asleep. So, but really happy to be here. Mark, it's great to see you. Rosangel's always great to see you. Tough times, but tough times call tough people to do tough things, and that's what we do in New York, and that's what we're gonna do now. That's what we always do.
Okay, and for those of you who don't know who Michael Caine is, he is a grassroots organizer, and right now he has a new title. You introduce yourself, because I want you to give the latest, but I want to let you know this guy is a rock star. Michael Caine, this guy is always busy, always working so hard. I love this guy. He's working so hard. And he's accomplished so much. He's accomplished getting people together, he has a real natural talent for getting the right people together at the right time. And this guy has helped me and John Gilmore, Rita Palma, and a lot of you others out there helped us stop these people time again. Since 2019, this team has been able to stop every vaccine bill that they have thrown at us. And it's because we know how to motivate people, we know how to organize, and we know how to put the message out in the way to get people involved. And that's the key, getting involved. You guys got to make the calls, you guys got to show up, and you guys got to knock on their door and let them know who the hell is boss. Take it away, Michael Caine.
Yeah, so thank you, Cozy. I mean, Cozy's been doing this, longer than I have. He's been fighting in the streets for this stuff before I knew I needed to be fighting in the streets for this stuff. But yeah, my name is Michael Caine. I was a founder of Teachers for Choice. I was a New York City public school teacher fired for not getting the COVID shot. Prior to that, I was fighting to protect the religious exemption of vaccination in New York State. Cozy was doing that. John Gilmore, Rita Palma, Bobby Kennedy came out to Albany fighting for that in 2018, 2019, Del Bigtree. We lost that battle. They repealed the religious exemption. And I remember after that happened, I came out with a petition called New York Teachers Against Vaccine Mandates for Educators in July of 2019, 6 months before anybody heard of COVID-19. Because that's, we were aware, we saw what was going on. And then COVID came and we fought in the streets. New York Freedom Rally, Bravest for Choice with 20,000 people over the Brooklyn Bridge. I founded Teachers for Choice, Cops for Freedom, so many amazing grassroots groups, New York Freedom Rally, on and on. And we all kind of found each other in the streets of New York City, just searching for sanity somewhere, and we found it in each other. And in that process, I'm now the director of advocacy at Children's Health Defense, working with an amazing team there. It's doing some amazing stuff. But Teachers for Choice always has my heart, fighting for the workers that were fired, and who have still not been compensated properly. And ever since 2019, We've been going up to Albany. We've been following John Gilmore, working with him, and fighting whatever comes up in Albany. And we have for 6 years been able to beat down any bad vaccine legislation that has come our way. One, you might remember 3 years ago, Rose Angel actually shot this footage and brought this footage back again just a couple of days ago, almost 3 years ago to the day. I think it was May 2023, somewhere around there. Yeah, that there was a health committee meeting in the assembly in Albany, and they had 3 horrible vaccine bills they wanted to push through. Minor consent bills where minors could get vaccines without parental knowledge, a database bill that would be mandatorily file all adult vaccines into the adult vaccine database where you have no choice in the matter. It just automatically happens. And there was one other bill as well too. And the footage shows Joe Speaks Truth. Shout out to Joe. One of the originals in New York Freedom Rally fighting against the lockdowns. And she's just screaming at these lawmakers going, who do you work for? Do you work for the people or you work for the devil? And leave it to Joe to not mince words, right? Just getting right to the point. But 3 years ago, we stopped those bills. One of those bills passed the assembly entirely, but never did pass the Senate. And now here we are 3 years later, and it's not 3 bills, it was 5 that they jammed through in the assembly, and some of them are still making their way through. One of those bills has passed the assembly and the Senate and is now effectively on Hochul's desk. That's the bill we've been calling the Governor Hochul's vaccine power grab, the one that, as I came on, Cozy was talking about getting rid of federal guidance, getting rid of ACIP and CDC guidance, and just saying, no, New York does what it wants. We listen to who we want to listen to. If we want a vaccine schedule from the AAP, we're going to do. If we want it from the WHO, we're going to do that. WHO, World Health Organization, not American Health Advisory Group, right? This is where New York is headed right now. And that one bill, the vaccine power grab, is on Hochul's desk. The last thing we could do about that is call Hochul as much as possible. I think John Gilmore put out an action alert yesterday about that, just telling people call Hochul. She hasn't signed it yet. She is likely to. But behind that is 4 other bills. There's 4 other bills that are bad vaccine bills. One would be mandatory Hep B to attend college. So check it out. You're a 35-year-old single mom going back to get your secondary college degree, right? While you're working 2 jobs. Guess what? You got to get a Hep B shot if you want to attend college in New York State. I mean, this is crazy. You know what I mean? And the sponsor of that bill, Amy Powlin, Cozy knows Amy Powlin well. Amy Powlin, who's the sponsor of this bill, did something I haven't seen her do in years, 3, 4, 5, 6 years maybe. She posted on her Facebook, look at my Hep B mandatory vaccine shot to go to college. Yay me. This is amazing. 600 comments just destroying her, just destroying her. Nobody likes this bill. And some of these Democrats in Albany are living in this bubble where they're so rabidly anti-Trump and so rabidly anti-Kennedy. They don't even know their own constituents. They don't even know what the will of the New York people are. So you have Amy Powlin bragging about something that's wildly unpopular. The New York voter is not looking, they're not saying like, man, I got no money in my pocket. It isn't safe to go out on these streets. I don't know if I could live in New York much longer. You know what we need? We need to be forced to get Hep B shots to go to college. Like, that is just not what's going on right now. And I think that the Democrats have overplayed their hand a little bit with these bills. In part, it's really just like a middle finger to Trump and to Kennedy. And so they're playing politics in a way. But I don't know if it's going to pan out the right way for them. I don't know if it is going to do precisely what they want, because whether it's New York, California, Idaho, I mean, people are waking up to this thing after COVID. People do not trust forced medical mandates, period, you know? So there's a couple other bills, and we can get into that. But that's kind of my overall look on this. I do believe the Democrats have overplayed their hand. I do think that means we can capitalize on this. I'll say one other thing, too. I mean, our base here in New York is on fire. My posts about this are getting tens of thousands, 50,000, 100,000 views, where people are really engaged in this. People are DMing, emailing, calling. I know Albany's getting thousands of calls and emails about these bills now. I mean, I know they are, because our base has really gone like, wait, what are you talking about? 5 bad bills? That they're kind of in shock that it's happened, and just a reminder of how insane the Democrats in Albany can be. And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate everybody that came out on the Zoom that we had with only 24 hours notice. I really appreciate everybody who's drawing attention to this and making this a big issue. Now the next thing I want to see is, where does Bruce Blakeman sit on this stuff? Where does the Republican nominee for governor, where does he sit on this? He hasn't really spoken yet. I have confidence we're going to hear good stuff from him, but we haven't yet. Oh, well, we know Larry Sharp is running for governor with Shannon Joy as well too. They are definitely good on these issues. They've been outspoken on this, but I have confidence we'll hear Bruce Blakeman speak to it soon. But we haven't yet. We haven't heard him speak up on these medical freedom issues yet.
And we saw in the past with certain politicians who are the writers and sponsors of certain bills that, you know, groups of us who protested outside their office, they got a lot of negative publicity to the point where they didn't even run for re-election in some cases, because this is not something that's popular. And for those of you who are watching who are thinking anti-vaxxers or whatever the case may be, or, oh, well, maybe you guys are right about the COVID vaccine, but vaccines are good. Like, no, you don't look into any of this stuff as far as the ingredients and the side effects. And most vaccines, if not all of them, are not good for you. It's weird for me to say that, because this all started with the COVID vaccine, and then I hear stories about people who have the side effects and the rise in autism, and you think it's healthcare, but it's not. And the thing I really want to drill home to people is, when they wonder, why would they do this? Why would the government do this? Why would pharmaceutical companies do this? It comes down to one simple answer, and that is money.
Yeah.
Okay. Ever since they got immunity back in 1988, courtesy of Ronald Reagan, one of the worst things he did. He was a good president, but it was a horrible thing that he did. It gave these vaccine companies immunity, and there has not been a vaccine that they haven't liked since. Any vaccine out there, like the hepatitis B vaccine, if I'm not mistaken, it's given to babies at the hospital. This is an STD. There is no reason for a baby to get a hepatitis B vaccine when they're born. The amount of vaccines that they're getting when they're 2 months old is insane. Within the first couple of years, when they're a baby, when their body is still barely developing, if you're going to say it's mandatory for them to get to school, then why not when they're 3 or 4 years old? Why within the few first months of life? And when they have side effects, you know what happens when they have side effects? Medical bills, more money, more medication. It comes down to money. They don't care. They're guaranteed, because you're forced to take it. Just like they wanted to force everyone of every age for the COVID vaccine, the pharmaceutical companies make money doing this. So they're forcing you to take it. They're getting money for it. And then they're getting money when you're sick on top of it.
Yeah.
So this isn't, if you say, why would they? No, like, people are evil. You need to understand that people are evil. This is not a fairy tale world where the politicians and the corporations are all looking out for the people's best interest. They're not. Okay? All comes down to money. We got a couple of minutes left with the Brooklyn free speech at the 28-minute mark. Cozy, you wanted to say something? I think you're muted.
I said no. I wanted to hear from Rose Angel if she has any questions for Michael.
I'll wait until we hit the bottom, the
Okay.
break. Yeah.
No problem. So
Yeah,
Michael,
and it's
go ahead. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, it's just basically getting involved is something. It's not just protests out in the street. It's people like Michael Caine and John Gilmore and a lot of others that are out there not only in the streets, but also in Albany, in these politicians' faces, in the courtroom, filing lawsuits, filing appeals, and that's what gets things done. That's what doesn't make the mainstream media news on how a lot of these tyrannical things that they wanted to pass did not pass because of the medical freedom movement, people like Michael Caine. So thank you for that, for all the hard work that you do. Glad that you're part of the program. Glad that you're continuing to fight in New York. A lot of people left New York because they didn't have a choice for work
Yeah.
reasons or for whatever the case may be, myself included. I was doxxed at my financial services job. I'm a truck driver now. I try to stay involved as much as I can, but it is very important. So if you are still in New York, attend these rallies. And before we wrap up on Brooklyn Free Speech, how could people get more involved, Michael? What's the website? What's the links? We got about a minute left on the Brooklyn cable, Brooklyn Free Speech cable.
Yeah, people should go to teachersforchoice.substack.com, teachersforchoice.substack.com. All the bills are there. There's actions to take for all the bills right at the top of the webpage. Go in there, click on those links, send those emails, make those phone calls. You can make a difference. You can stop the power grab that they're trying to enforce on New Yorkers, basically against our will. You could tell them no, and they're going to listen more now because it's an election year. Our voices are much more amplified now. So yeah, teachersforchoice.substack.com.
Definitely. And we air every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Those of you watching on TV could check us out on YouTube and X, Cafecito Break. And you could watch the rest of the show. We're going to be talking about the Trump shooting and the spying in the cars with the cameras and AI and stuff. So check out the full episodes online, and we'll see you next time on Brooklyn Free Speech.
All right, Michael, I'm so delighted that you were able to join us because I know that there's so much going on. So people sometimes, criticisms that I hear are, it's a waste of time to vote. And here is why, even though I understand that a lot of people are really upset with Governor Hochul, on the flip side is nobody really knows who's running against her. To be quite honest, like, I'm aware because I'm a nosy human being, but if I ask the regular human being, they only know about Governor Hochul and then whatever else they may have as an insight to share. So a little note is Mr. Bruce Blakeman and Larry and Shannon, like, we need to see more of you guys in some of these places. Like, I know where Larry and Shannon stand, so I'm not concerned there, but Bruce Blakeman, who is the Republican choice, a lot of people do not know who he is and or understand his positions.
Well, so those are good points. I really hope Bruce Blakeman comes out soon on these issues. But a Republican political insider told me today and said, Mike, right now is litigation season. There are so many lawsuits that are happening around the elections right now that most of us don't even know. The Democrats are trying to rip Republicans off the ballot, off their Republican line, who are currently elected officials. They are actually trying to take assembly members who are sitting in Albany as elected officials, and as they're running again, they're suing them to take them off the Republican, conservative, both those lines. Like, for a party named the Democratic Party who screams about the importance of democracy so much, it's insane how much they hate democracy and how much they don't want a choice. So I do want to just say that that a lot of this, Bruce Blakeman was ripped away matching funds. So he doesn't get matching funds right now. So that he's suing over that. He needs to get those matching funds. This is over such a technical, nonsensical thing that they're doing this. Again, this lawfare that they're doing when they scream about democracy and they have no interest in it. I'm going to say, if the Democrats have to stoop to this level of this ridiculousness, of stripping their opponent of matching funds, there's some fear there. And the reason why there's fear there is Hochul is hated. Hochul is not beloved. Hochul is not doing really well, even in a 2-to-1 Democrat state. People don't like her. So her and the corporate interests that prop her up, they're a little afraid and they're stooping to dirty tricks right now. So that's one thing. A lot of these Republicans are fighting bad lawsuits to stay alive. So we have to get through that. The other thing is we have 6-7 months till election day. We do have a primary season coming up. That's important in some cases. But it's really going to be the summer and then in September when you really see the surge of the candidates, when there's debates, when you're going to get to know them a lot more. So I'm confident Bruce Blakeman's going to come out on the right side of this stuff. I've heard some private conversations people have shared with me. I have not met Bruce, not yet, that are very promising from the things that I've heard. But I think that they're still fighting for their lives in court right now, which is a part of it that even us as activists don't know so much about. We don't know the real deep, dirty tricks in the courtrooms that go on. So that's happening this year, like more than ever. So that's one thing. Keep that in mind. And I do think we're going to start hearing more about Bruce and his platform and others as well, too. I also want to bring out there, 4 years ago, Lee Zeldin ran for governor. I supported him in a big way at Teachers for Choice. We campaigned for him. We were at the Caribbean Day Parade on the streets in Brooklyn with him. I was on the steps of City Hall endorsing him. We came out in a big way. He came out for us. He lost, but he came closer than any other Republican had come in 2, almost 3 decades prior to him. And he carried 6 congressional seats on his back. He flipped 2 seats from blue to red, and that played a big role in making Congress Republican controlled right now. So that's another thing people need to think about. Lee Zeldin lost, but he didn't lose. He helped to flip the government into Republican control. So people should not, my vote doesn't matter. What it was, okay, Lee Zeldin didn't win, but what about all those collective votes that got those representatives, right? That were able to flip those districts. Those votes definitely did matter. And even in corrupt New York, where there's all types of shenanigans, they can't capture and control and cheat on every single election. They can't. They can cheat on many of them, for sure. And we know that stuff happens. Don't throw away your power. Don't tell people you don't matter. Don't say your vote doesn't matter. Don't say your soul doesn't matter. It does. We've seen this. We saw this during COVID. We saw what we were able to do together. Did we win every battle? No. We lost a lot of them. We probably lost more than we won, but the ones that we won were epic. What we were able to do essentially put Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in charge of the federal health agencies. Even 3 years ago, no one would have believed that was possible. No one even thought that was possible. But that came starting with a couple hundred people in Union Square that called themselves New York Freedom Rally. I mean, it started with some teachers that, did the walkout and ended up, walking over the Brooklyn Bridge. And then it was Bravest for Choice with 20,000 over the Brooklyn Bridge, then 40,000 in DC, and then 1 million in Ottawa with the trucker convoy, right? So I bring this up. I mean, you guys all know this, but I bring this up because the system's rigged. It doesn't matter. My vote doesn't matter. I don't matter. That's just what they want you to say. They want that negative self-talk to yourself so that you'll go back and just anesthetize yourself with your drug of choice, with whatever it is, with Netflix and chill or whatever it is, and not actually get involved in these things. We can make a difference. The outcome isn't always precisely what we wish it was in the moment.
Here's the one thing I will say, Michael, and that makes a whole lot of sense. One thing that the Democratic Party does really well is that they know how to disseminate information, whether it's accurate information, but they will all get their little talking points. They will go into little groups. And so if they want to have a collective message, whether it's No Kings or ICE or whatever, everywhere you go, Cozy's a testament of this. You live in Brooklyn, you see where the organizers went, to which businesses, who they spoke to. You see the influences across churches and temples. You see the influences in nonprofits. and then when you talk to the people, you hear how they've been influenced because they are saying the same talking points. We need something like that as an opposition, little groups that are just going and disseminating information, flyers, talking to people, more of like what we did when we were renting those big buses with the digital trucks that was, raising alarms. Like those things matter because people will complain about Governor Hochul and will complain about Mamdani, but then here will be election time and they'll just vote Democrats. And if they're not looking, they're going to vote in a whole bunch of DSA members that are lining up to take over the assembly if they have their way. So I'm just sort of like, I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but I am being pessimistic because in regards to voting, not in regards of how our impact has been in relationship to medical freedom, because it has been. And one of the things that you've been instrumental, Michael, has been letting everybody know patience and things like this take time. Because a lot of us are used to the Instagram minute. Why can't it just happen? Or when we see something on TV and it gets wrapped up by the time we're getting the news, we start thinking that reality is like that. And it's not. Movement's not created like that. And you've been instrumental in reminding us and making sure you ground us whenever we were like, why isn't this happening fast enough?
Yeah, you made a bunch of great points there. The Democrats come out with their flyer, with 92 of them all on one flyer, and 92 of them in their teams are all handing out the same flyer, and they have the same message and stuff. And then the Republicans got their flyer with their one candidate on it, and it's like, go get your own flyer and pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and like they really live those principles. You know what I mean? And you see it in their campaign too. And because I've seen it, I've been up close to a lot of campaigns, so I know what it's like. But they lose some of that clan energy of like, we move as a clan, we move as a team, we strike together, one for all and all for one type of thing. And so that puts them at a disadvantage in certain settings at certain times. I do wish they could coalesce a little bit better on that. Sometimes you see there's some districts where a Republican could win and they just don't run a candidate. That could be so frustrating, and that's some of the disengagement that happens of people just feeling like there's no way to make a difference. Why even bother? So I definitely hope that on the electoral level, we see change in that for sure. One specific example, when you bring up worrying about seeing DSA candidates all over the place. Our champion in Albany is Jamie Williams. Assemblywoman Jamie Williams is in Brooklyn. Every year she ends up running on the Democrat, Conservative, and Republican ticket in Brooklyn. She's got it all, and she wins. This year, she's being challenged by a DSA candidate in her district. That's an issue. She has sponsored the Let Us Work Act for fired unvaccinated workers to come back. She has sponsored the Education for All Act for medically fragile children to get their proper medical exemptions to vaccination. She's a true hero to our movement. She's a Democrat. We need to keep her in. I mean, 1,000,000%, we need Jamie Williams to win. We don't need a DSA member overturning that seat. So her election is all about that primary. And that's really important. And anybody in Brooklyn or the surrounding areas, this is somebody we want to support. We want to give Jamie Williams money. If you can donate money to her, we want to give her time. We want to be out there pushing to get her to win this primary. It's very, very important. And these are the types of things people are busy thinking about Mamdani and Hochul and who's Jamie who is Jamie Williams, but they don't know this is somebody who's really been carrying our agenda on her back and really helping to keep us having a voice because the Democrats hold a supermajority in Albany. So we need friends that are Democrats. We need the Republicans as well too, but we have some Democrat friends and we need to keep them. We need to fight for them because they have fought for us. The other point that you were making about the longevity in this, again, like we've sued for losing our jobs. I mean, all of us have been involved in some sort of fashion of lawsuit. We've rallied hundreds of times now. I mean, all over New York, all over New York City, all over the country. Um, and I mean, I know teachers with master's degrees driving Uber right now, you know, and the lives that are decimated. And it is it is horrendous. It is terrible. You know, these are our friends, these are our brothers and sisters. As Mark said, pushed out of the state, pushed out of the city. But also, civil rights were never handed over easily to anybody in this country. Civil rights were fought for. Civil rights were bled for. And sometimes we need to step back a little bit and look at, yeah, I didn't get my job back in 6 months, in a year, in 2 years, in 4, 5. I think I'm at 5 years now, still suing in the courts and still got one case, maybe. I didn't get that. But I go back to that same example. Who would have thought that our most celebrated and notable champion, Robert Kennedy, would be where he is right now? That comes from what we bled. That comes from what we sweat. That comes from what we did. And it ain't perfect at all. I mean, it's a mess in DC, what we're seeing right now. You know, what we were hoping for in the MAGA MAHA marriage is now a war. It's a feud and it's a war that's going on, literally and figuratively, externally and internally within the Republican Party. It's not easy, and it's not cut and dry, and it gets messy. But my 2026 problems, I'll take them any day over my 2021 problems. Any day. Any day. What I was looking at in 2021, the nightmare, the horror. I mean, do you remember that feeling in 2021 and 2022? Just the feeling of darkness on top of you and just trying to find some sane people. And when you'd finally get in the streets with a couple of hundred of us and be like, oh, I'm not crazy. There are other people out here who feel like that. And what we had to break through, and the mask zombies and just the whole thing, to now, to the problems that we have now, I'll take these problems all day.
Well,
And I
listen,
think people
Michael, what do
forget
we
that. I
do?
think people forget how bad it was, what we had to fight out of and what we had to come out of. So, I mean, even as crazy as stuff, you know, today, I'll take it. This isn't exactly my, no, it is my issue. It's not exactly. People Over Poison rally was in DC today in front of the Supreme Court. And inside, a attorney from the Department of Justice, from Trump's Department of Justice, was arguing on behalf of Bayer Monsanto. Now, the Trump administration, the DOJ, sent an amicus brief in support of Bayer Monsanto. The Solicitor General, Trump's Solicitor General, wrote an opinion supporting Bayer Monsanto. That wasn't enough for them. They sent their attorney, a government-funded DOJ attorney, into the court to argue for about a third of the time for Bayer Monsanto. I didn't vote for that. That's not what MAHA was for me. I didn't see that coming, and that is unbelievably disappointing
It's
and
disgusting.
disheartening.
Yeah,
It truly
disgusting.
is. So like I don't want to sugarcoat that or act like that's a win and it's a victory. But nevertheless, despite that, there were hundreds of people outside rallying and protesting against this. Democrats, Republicans, independents, just like we've been rallying, just like everything we've done for medical freedom. You had medical freedom people there, with environmental people there, with Cory Booker was there. You know, so you're getting these strange marriages and these strange things. And one of the things that I see every single day, every political faction in DC wants a piece of MAHA. Everybody does. They might not scream it out loud, but behind the scenes, they're talking to us, they're talking to my team, they're talking to people. They want to know, whether they're Democrat or Republican, how they can get a piece of it and use it to their advantage. That is unbelievable compared to where we were in 2021. And so I just remain, despite how bad things can look at times, and this Supreme Court thing is looking, and the liability shield for pesticides. Oh God, it's disgusting. I still remain optimistic because I just see Robert F. Kennedy Jr. could go away tomorrow. and not be around, our movement's still not going anywhere. I see it. We've matured in a way that we are now a national force. And I think that's going to resonate for decades.
Yeah. Now I want to bring it back to how do we focus on these bills? How do we stop these people? Like that's the goal right now. We need to stop them immediately. Like we don't have much time. They're going to try to pass this. How do we let them know that we are a voting bloc and we are not to be messed with? They need to
Yeah.
understand. They need to
So
understand.
so yeah, let's bring it back to where our feet are, right here in New York. So everybody in New York State, you want to listen to this. We're gonna have some rallies. We're gonna have some rallies in the weeks ahead at select offices, just to let them know what we think, to let them know what happens when you ignore us. We've done this before. We've killed bills with rallies outside of offices multiple times, especially in New York City, but you might see rallies outside of New York City as well too. We are going to be holding meetings as well too with some of the, sometimes it's 3, 4, 5 people in a room that make the decision on all of these things, right? And we have been fortunate enough to get lines of communication to a couple of those people where we meet with them regularly, and what's happened is even though they don't really like us, they know we're not stupid, and they know we actually educate them. We teach them stuff that they didn't know prior to meeting us. So they meet with us regularly because we don't come in crazy. We don't come in yelling. We come in for the debate. We come in with our attorneys. We come in with our experts. We come in with our constituents. The whole nine. Come in with media sometimes, and they've actually grown to respect us as a counterpart, as somebody that they're doing battle with. And then the main thing is go to teachersforchoice.substack.com. The top post that's there right now, let me make sure I'm telling the truth. The top post right now, you could watch the Zoom from Friday, which would be great for many of you because John Gilmore speaks for a good portion of that. John Gilmore is just the nerd brain for medical freedom in Albany. He knows everything that's going on there. So you can hear him go into it.
I'm going to tell him you called him a nerd.
Go right ahead. I called John a nerd in the most respectful of ways. But also at the top now.
He said it as a compliment.
100%.
No, he calls himself that, so I'm just joking.
But also now it's New York Health Committee passes 5 terrible vaccine bills all in one day. That post is pinned to the top at teachersforchoice.substack.com. And if you go there, you're going to see all 5 bills. You're going to see action alerts for all of them. First, Governor Hochul's power grab. That one's on Governor Hochul's desk. We have to simply call the governor and show the pressure there because it is an election year. We can't forget our calls have more impact. The next one is A765S9893, the RFK Jr. Act, which is a mandatory adult vaccine database. They had the nerve to name that the RFK Jr. Act. Again, just like thumbing their nose at him and just like trying to get at him. That would make it mandatory that all vaccines are reported into this database. Well, if it's mandatory that they report everyone who gets them, guess what they will also know? They will also know everybody who doesn't get them. And if they know everybody who doesn't get them, what can they then do? Punish us. That's what they can do. So that's what that bill's about. That bill is all about finding who the unvaccinated are to punish them. Then we have, this one is shocking, A9140S9604, liability immunity for vaccines not approved by the federal government. So in this new power grab, they're setting themselves up that they could mandate experimental vaccines that are not FDA approved.
They don't have this authority. What's going on here, Michael? Sorry
They
to
don't
cut you
have
off.
it. They don't have that authority. So they're passing a law to give themselves that authority right now is what they're trying to do. And if they do pass that, what that would mean is if a vaccine were given in New York that isn't recommended by the federal government, they are giving liability protection to the doctor, nurse, pharmacist, provider that injects it. So let's say, just as an example, the Hep B shot is no longer recommended for newborns on the federal CDC recommendations. They changed that. Well, New York State says, well, we don't care. We're still going to recommend it. But since it's not recommended federally, it no longer has federal liability immunity to it. So New York is saying, we don't care. We're given the immunity here in New York. But there's a problem. Federally, there is a vaccine court that if the child gets injured, they can sue in the court for damages. Do we have a New York vaccine injury court? We do not. So what is Hochul's priority here? What are the Democrats' priority? Protect the doctor, nurses, pharmacists that are injecting these things. But the kids getting injected, no protection, no thought about it. There's not even any thought about it. To the vaccine injured community, especially those who have children that were injured, I can't tell you how offended they are by this bill, that they're taking the time to figure out how to give protection to those who give vaccines, but not to those who get them. And then the last bill they have is A325A. Summer camp campers must get all mandated vaccines to go to camp. Right now, it's up to a camp what their requirements are. And this bill would change that and make it a requirement that you had to be fully vaccinated. So any homeschool kid right now would be locked out of any summer camps if this happened. So just complete insanity, completely destroying all liberties and rights to what we do with our bodies and what we do with our kids. It's also, none of this makes any economic sense. None of this is helping with the economic tragedy that our state is in right now. It's only adding fuel to the fire. Like, I'll give you an example. The one I said earlier about the Hep B shot required to go to college. Colleges are not admitting enough students. Kids are not going to college. Colleges can't fill their seats. Do you think a new vaccine mandate for Hep B is going to help them fill seats? You think it's going to help the economy of the colleges? It's not. It's going to further hurt one of the industries that we have in New York State even more than we are. That's because Kathy Hochul has no business sense at all. She has no idea on how to make New York thrive, but how to oppress, how to be tyrannical, how to take away rights. Kathy Hochul's got that down in spades. So anyway, one more time, go to teachersforchoice.substack.com. The top post is the New York Health Committee passes 5 terrible vaccine bills all in one day. Click on that, and you will get all of these bills that I just sent to you. They'll have links to action alerts for you to send emails and also to make phone calls to make sure your voice is heard. And again, we are going to be having rallies. We're going to announce them at Teachers for Choice. And as those rallies come out, we need you to show up. We need your help in that. This is how we're going to beat these bills. This is how we're going to push it back.
So stay tuned, people. It's going to happen quickly, most likely, because these people are moving fast. So stay tuned to Michael Caine. Follow him on Instagram. He's constantly giving you updates. Sign up to the Autism Action Network's email list. That is vital. And obviously, keep following me, Kozis Wellness, and we're going to keep you updated. And we need you to take charge. You can't sit back. There's no excuses. They are coming for you and your children again. Your older children now. We can't let this happen. We can't let this happen.
We can't. Michael, thank you so much. We have 2 little subjects that we wanted to cover. They're not little, but little in the amount of time that we want to cover them. Meaning shots fired at the White House Correspondents' Dinner and the news of the ever encroaching AI spies in your car. So we wanted to kind of chat and segue into those topics, and you're welcome to stay if you want, or if you need to say, I need to sign out right now, that's okay too. Thank you so much for all of the time that you give to the medical freedom movement and to your devotion to the children. And you are like like one of the best teachers I've ever met. Like, you're like the history books of what a teacher epitomizes is you. And I think that one of the best things during the hardest moments of those lockdown days was that God brought all of us together. And I think back of just a few weeks ago in Albany when that man that we were meeting with was looking at you and Tremel and Matt and myself, and he's looking at us and he's like trying to figure out, like, but how does this come together? I don't understand how this makes sense. It's different agencies. Like, we don't get it. But that's a testament to this medical freedom movement. It's much bigger than just left or right. Like, we really have become a force to be dealt with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When we were up in Albany, we had Shantisha talking about her 1 year old who was basically murdered by 12 vaccines all in one visit. And her ability to tell that story, she stood on our shoulders, right? We lifted her up. Our movement gave her the strength. She's been a mess for a year. And this was the first time she came out because she had a support system, because we were able to pay for a rental car, because we got a hotel room, right? All of these like nuts and bolts things. And it's a horrible story, but she was in very powerful Democrat and Republican offices telling her story. And that's so important. And that comes from what we've been able to build, all of us on this call, our greater movement, especially here in New York. You know, there was something really, really special. Well, first off, there was something really like horrendously tyrannical about how they targeted us and what happened. But our response, there was something really, really special about, you know, all of us and all the things that came together and what we were able to build. So thank you all for everything that you've done. Thanks for inviting me on the platform and giving me some time to educate people on what needs to happen. Unfortunately, I do have a couple more hours of work to do tonight before I go to sleep. So I am going to get to that. But thank you again, and I'm looking forward to catching up on these two topics you're going to talk about. Two topics I'm very interested in as well too.
Well, you are welcome anytime, and again, we will see we will see each other soon because protests are coming and rallies.
See you at the battlefield. Let's go.
All
Amen.
right.
Teachers for
They want
Choice.
trouble, we'll bring them trouble.
Substack.com.
Thank you so
Thanks for
much,
joining
guys.
us, Mike.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you,
Okay.
guys. Have a
Thank you,
good night.
Michael. See you soon.
See you soon, Michael. Thank you. That was Michael King of Teachers for Choice, teachersforchoice.substack.com. Follow check out the articles, and you could also visit autismactionnetwork.org. And he really makes it very easy for you. Like there are literally like pre-filled documents, and you could just put your name, your information, and boop, with a little click, you've sent your elected officials a little note of how you feel. So it's really easy, and please get involved. What topic shall we cover
Well,
next?
before we get into that, I'll segue into a topic after I say what I need to say here. But backtracking to something that you said, number one, the Democrats can easily manipulate our statements and factual and all that stuff and stay unified with a message, because their message is everything is racist, including something like voter ID, which is actually racist to think that black people can't get an ID. So it's very simple for them to just, it's racist. That's why. That's why the Republicans want to do it. And to go back into something that Michael said about the courts and stuff, that happens every year. They try to get you thrown off the ballot, especially in New York. You have to get a certain number of signatures depending on what office you're running for, even if you're an incumbent. So when you file those signatures, they try to find something wrong with it to kick you off the ballot. It happened to Cara Castronova, who got over 15,000 signatures for U.S. Senate. The matching funds, that happened to me when I was running for city council. I still came within a few hundred votes. If I got the matching funds, I would have won. They know that, and that's why they stopped it on BS stuff that doesn't even make sense. And it goes back to the other statement about people not voting and saying that is pointless, that you mentioned, Cafecito. And unfortunately, it's so that message is also being sent by some of the biggest fighters within our movement sometimes. And it's shocking, because the reason why people like Hochul are in power, and they say selected and not elected, but we can't prove that they cheated unless we win, unless we actually have the votes, and we can't actually have the votes if people think that it's pointless. And you have people like me and Cara and other good people that attempted to run for office and go through the court stuff and go through all these battles, and you don't want to take a walk around the corner one day a year to go vote. All the work that people put in to try to make a difference, and you're telling me that it's not worth your time to walk around the corner or take a short drive to go and vote less than an hour out of your day once a year? You can't do that? No way. I mean, and I'm not cursing people out right now. I'm hope my point is made there. And I know the White House shooting is the big topic that everybody's talking about. And we took the first hour of the show to talk about some of these things that these tyrants that got voted in because people didn't want to vote. And we got to go and fight these things. And that's what's more important than a stage shooting, which we'll get into shortly. But another thing that the tyrants are passing on the national level is the AI in cars. Okay, the AI cameras in cars. And I opened up the program saying instead of flying cars, we've got spying cars. Okay, and they're going to say it's for safety and drinking and driving, but it's also going to be if you have your phone in your hand texting. I know because I have one in the truck. It's a camera facing me while I'm driving. And I found this out and I had to sign for the biometrics and stuff after I went to orientation, after I'm in the middle of freaking Texas, they, paying for my travel and all that stuff. And I find out and I'm like, okay, I need money. I just took 2 months off for my boxing match. I thought I was starting this job. Now there's going to be a driver facing camera with biometrics. So if I'm holding my phone, it will say distracted driver and it will record it and it will show it to my supervisor or whatever the case may be. Or if I'm doing something, fumbling to find whatever the case may be. But this is supposed to be for drinking and driving. So if the AI can sense that you're intoxicated, it will prevent you from driving. That's what they're telling you it's for. That's what it's going to initially be for. And it's not only the texting and driving, it's going to be a social credit system, just like we told you about, that okay, you went and you said something on social media that the government doesn't like. Guess what? You can't drive your car anymore now. Engine immobilization, your key will not work. Okay, it doesn't have to be drinking and driving. That technology is there. And the Ford, I reposted a video that I saw of this guy talking about the Ford trucks and how they have all these patents. And there's a microphone that's actually listening to your conversations for marketing purposes, but it's not just going to be marketing purposes. This is really dystopian stuff with this camera, and it passed. It passed in Congress. Anna Paulina Luna said she voted against it, but there's a lot of Republicans that voted for it, and it's going to be pushed as a safety thing. And yeah, are there safety benefits? No drinking and driving sounds good. Somebody steals your car, there's a camera, there's engine immobilization. Yeah, you could sell it as safety and some of the perks of it, but it's not worth the freedoms and all the other stuff that it's going to do. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. But we said this was going to happen, and it sounded like a conspiracy theory, and it's happening. We talked about vaccine mandates before the vaccine even came out. Once COVID hit and these masks are going out, people like me and Cozy are in Union Square with only 10 people, talking about they're going to introduce a vaccine and they're going to force people to take it, and you're going to need a vaccine ID card, and we're sounding cuckoo bananas. And then a year later, that's exactly what happened. And when we tell you they're going to turn off your car if you go and make a social media post, you sound cuckoo bananas. But now it's the first step of it. They're already putting the camera and the engine immobilization in the car and telling you it's because of drinking and driving when they know that's not the real reason.
It's too much. Like I looked up and it says key aspects of the surveillance that well actually there's two things, right? Because you're talking about the surveillance inside your car, but there's also modern vehicles and external traffic infrastructure that's going to utilize AI driven surveillance to monitor driving behavior and collect extensive personal data, raising significant privacy concerns. Internal car systems can track location, voice commands, biometrics, as Mark was saying, and driving habits. While the external AI cameras, because it's not enough to have all of the cameras in your car watching you, spying on you, listening. Can you imagine all the people who want to go into their car and do naughty things and say naughty things to each other? Or if you want to have a secret conversation with someone, where can you have a secret conversation? But it gets worse because the external AI cameras that are watching you from the outside, they're going to automatically detect distracted drivers, such as looking around. What is that going to do? So there's going to be data collection. You're going to be more, more data, so that could see how that's going to be used for social credit system. And then the external enforcement, such as the police, getting tickets, and who else knows what can go wrong with all of this. It's just so much fun. So much fun to live in this world.
And we're
You
walking
can't
around
get you
with
can't get
these.
roadhead anymore. Come on.
Hey, we're walking around with these all day too. So like, if you guys, have your location on, this thing is recording you at all times. So hey, we have our own personal spy with us all the time, and we asked for it. It started with MySpace.
Mine has a
Who are
little
your
thing on
5
it.
top friends? And before MySpace, I always come back to this because it's always interesting to me. We wouldn't be so cautious about giving government our data, right? Before that time, our generation was very careful. And then as MySpace, I started seeing people doing it, what ice cream they're eating, people would check in and show their friends and show these things that we would never imagine in the past, right? If you go back to like when we were in high school, we would never imagine giving this information to anybody, right? And now hey, I'm eating a birthday cake, or I'm like eating a burger. Look at my hot dog. Look at this. Look at like everything
Or
you're
it's even
doing.
worse. People are sharing locations with each other.
Yeah, people
Just
drinking, people smoking, people. Just all this is going to be used against you. Every word you've ever typed, every comment you ever written will be used against you in the future. It's too late. The cat's out of the bag. But now they're going in, like you said, the AI. This is just too much. But this is inevitable. Politicians are voting for it. You guys are doing nothing about it. So, hey, you're gonna get what you get because you didn't do anything. You didn't
And
I
it's
believe
think that's
us.
how I'm
You
gonna
didn't
start my
believe us.
news report.
You
So
didn't believe us. You thought we were crazy. We freaking warned you, and now you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it.
yeah, it goes back to the mindset. A very small percentage of people actually vote, and that's part of the problem. If everybody who thought voting was pointless actually went and voted, we could actually make some real changes, but we don't. And the problem is, occasionally we get a good person in office, and they're usually kicked out. They're usually, you know, George Santos.
Don't even bring that guy up.
I mean, but his voting record was
Yeah.
perfect.
Cool. Why did he
But
have to lie, man? That's too bad, George. Shouldn't have did it.
yeah, I mean, but I
But we did
mean,
like you. We did like your stances, But hey,
but
my,
yeah, I do know
maybe you
why.
could redeem yourself, George.
But
my
I do know
Michael
what Mark was
Michael
saying.
Grimm
Like,
Sorry, go ahead.
Michael Grimm, he passed the Flood Protection Act because insurance companies didn't want to give homeowners insurance to vote to people in Staten Island because of Hurricane Sandy. And next thing you know, he's in jail because a business that he partially owns, that he doesn't even manage, Health Delicious restaurant in Manhattan, where he's a silent partner, hires people like delivery drivers and pays them off the books, like literally 80% or more of the businesses in New York do, where they pay the delivery drivers cash or off the books or whatever the case may be. But that resulted in him going to prison. Like,
Wow.
they will get you, and that's what discourages some people from running for office, because if you're doing things for the right reason, next thing you know, there's some sex scandal or some nonsense like Madison Hawthorne, the one in the wheelchair or whatever, he had some sex scandal or something. I remember listening to him on a podcast talking about the uniparty while he was in office, which most people don't do. And then he doesn't win his reelection because he has some sex scandal or something like that. And people just pay attention to the nonsense on the news and not the actual issues that these politicians are fighting for. Like Michael Grimm, for example, 13 tax, 13 counts of fraud, of tax fraud. All that was paying people off the books, which he didn't even do himself. So it's ridiculous. So
The moral of the
that's,
story is, if you're running for office, keep your weenie in your pants.
well,
Stay
and
away
that,
from women.
and in that case, it didn't matter because he had nothing to do with it had nothing to do with sexual stuff. It had to do with him being a business owner and paying people off the books, which he didn't even do. His manager did, and he was just a silent partner. So there's something. They will find something and
That's
attack
true.
you.
Oh, I know it all.
Well,
But I'm sorry, but it goes to that person being singled out as opposed to being unified and saying, showing up for him. I was in his court hearings. Like, I mean, people need to actually show up for people and stay united when somebody gets attacked and and basically, I think I saw Ian Smith repost something. If all it takes is 300 men, because if one person goes into these city council hearings and he could get kicked out, but if 300 men show up and they're all united, like, no, this is bullshit, no, we won't stand for this, they're not kicking out 300 people. One person shows up, he's a crazy person. 300 people show up, it's a movement. But we used to have that. We still do in some aspects, but we used to have that where we showed up thousands, hundreds or thousands strong to a rally, to these meetings, and saying, no, we're not going to take it. But we don't have that as much as we used to because they are broken people and they want people to give up and they want people to pay attention to all the bullshit like this White House shooting, which we're going to get into next. And anyone else want to add anything before we get into that?
just like, one has to just laugh because what world are we living in? Okay, first, do we think it's staged? I think you said you it looks like it was staged. Cozy, do you have a
Before we get
sense?
into that, this episode has been brought to you by Cozy's Pure Soaps. Get fresh, get clean, Cozy's Pure Soaps. Instagram.com/Cozy's Pure Soaps.
It was the little cartoon version of you right there.
But anyway,
Cozy's Pure
let's
Soaps.
go right into it. Tell me, is it staged? Most likely. It sounds bizarre. The night before, this is in DC, correct? DC, correct? The next day, what do we have? We have this protest against Monsanto. Coincidence? Oh, maybe. I don't know. This looks staged as hell. I don't know. I don't trust this administration. I don't trust any administration. Fuck off. We don't care. Give us
Foul
Foul language.
Good. Stop mandating vaccines. Listen to what I'm saying. You're monitoring this. You keep this all. You track and trace us. Listen. Stop mandating. It's going to be your downfall. And stop poisoning people. Stop poisoning our food. You're not going to get away with it.
Do you see how much
you could take this? You could freaking put it into the database. You could put it. It's all there. We're not going to be poisoned. We're not going to just sit back. We're going to fight to the end. And you're going to fucking lose.
Okay, I don't know.
And the end, I'm sorry, the end is when our car stops in the middle of the highway and we get arrested and we get sent to the gulag.
No.
It's not going to happen.
If we're doing choose your own adventure, our little spaceship would come and beam us up and we would be okay.
Or I'm just going to get a horse and drive around in a horse. Like
drive around in a horse.
You just move in with the Amish. They got the horses. I got the semi.
What are we going to do?
Pennsylvania or Indiana.
We're going to have to just beam up.
They're gonna ban the horses because they're gonna say they're releasing methane gas from their butts and it's affecting fucking climate change. They're gonna try to get you, but you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna right over the border. Let's go.
Yeah, but then what are you gonna do? Well, I mean, I guess when they poop, that you could use that for composting.
Throw that as weapons.
But okay, but we didn't answer the question.
Poop.
I guess we don't care. I mean, that this was. I am grateful no one was hurt. Okay, seriously. For the White House Correspondents' Dinner, my sister and I had been invited to go, and I was a little bummed, a little soaking that I couldn't make it. And then in hindsight, grateful that I wasn't there, extra grateful that no one was hurt, because even though many people say, and when you look at the footage, it looks sus, what's not sus is that the people that were there experienced the fear. And for them, so something that is sus can still affect a whole lot of people. People can still get hurt, and people can still die or get traumatized. And that's the part that I don't want to downplay. I'm grateful that everyone is safe.
Yeah, I mean, it's let's backtrack into whether or not it was staged or not. And supposedly this teacher from LA hopped on a train to Chicago, then hopped on a train to DC, as if like to not have a flight log of him going to DC. That was supposed to be the point or something like that. And then he thought he was going to go in with all the Secret Service agents and security and everything, that he was going to go in and be Rambo and take everybody out and take out the president or whatever was going on in this person's mind. I don't really necessarily believe. I mean, yes, TDS is real, and yes, people do have these delusional mindsets and think that they're going to accomplish things that are unrealistic when they're batshit crazy. And apparently, that's the narrative, that this guy was crazy and thought he was going to go in there. But then you see how Trump, Congress denied him building the ballroom, and if it's a ballroom in the White House, the security would have been better. I mean, so all these posts from social media influencers saying that the ballroom needs to be built now, and people think that that was the reason for it. I don't know what the reason for it necessarily is, and I did a video about it because I reposted somebody else's post when the story first came out, just for informational purposes. I read some articles and I posted in the caption all the information that was out there, that the shooter was apprehended, nobody was hurt, etc. And people wanted to say correct things like erupts, like the caption in the video itself said erupts. Is that what happens with gunfire? It erupts, like. And people say, oh well, it wasn't in the White House dinner, it was in the building. And I was like, so you're being technical and like trying to correct me, for which isn't even my post. It was reposted. Like, the things that people want to complain and argue about are so stupid. Like, stay on message, stay on the point of the issue, and not this, hating on something just for the sake of hating on it. It's like grammar Nazis and all this other nonsense. But taking my own advice and going back to the actual point, like, whatever, Trump approval ratings generally for a politician go up when there's an assassination attempt, and that's, people are more in favor of Trump, so to speak, in some cases. But I don't buy it. I don't think that this was real. A lot of the people who were there said the security was very weird, how it was kind of more lax than a typical Trump event. Deborah Leo, who was there, I saw her video. She said nobody checked her or anything like that. I guess she probably had a certain badge where the security was lighter. I don't know, but it just seems very weird, because even at a Trump rally, you're going through the metal detector very far away from where the actual stage is, and you're waiting on a line, and there's no, like, bum rushing an event is just that Trump is just not a normal likely occurrence. So it's just very weird how it was able to happen the way it did.
That's a good point. I believe it was CPAC that I attended, and the security on the day where Trump was expected to make a presence was very different than the way it looked the day before. I mean, talk about high level increase. We all the anybody who had little cameras, I mean everything, even like our lipsticks were searched and opened, like every single thing. A little embarrassing with the way how thorough they searched. So I remember thinking, wow, like the security is so tight. I didn't get to see the president, but that's how many hours in advance the security was tight. And you weren't getting through any of the points. So that is a little signal to me. Like, why would people keep saying that there was the security seemed like not tight? But I wasn't there, so I really can't. I don't like spending so much time, contemplating things of positions that I can't possibly really know. What I will say is that when they released the footage so quickly, and I looked at it, I had two things. I said, wow, that's really interesting, because usually it takes a little while for someone to get security footage. We're used to it not being available. So that's how jaded I feel. And then when I saw the security footage, it felt like I was watching a movie or an AI video. I don't know.
All right, so these are the top reasons people are given, right? So here, suspect profile raises flag for, security lapses. The gunman breached a checkpoint at high-profile, heavily secured event with the president, VP, and cabinet present. Skeptics question how he got so close with weapons, why response was limited, one agent hit and vest, no fatalities inside, and why it ended quickly without deeper penetration. Suspect profile raises flags for some. Allen, a 31-year-old California tutor engineer with no prior violence record, checked into the hotel days earlier. He sent pre-attack writings called a manifesto to family criticizing Trump policies and calling himself a friendly federal assassin. Some doubt a random, educated person would attempt a solo at such a venue, suggesting a patsy or setup. They just give a few reasons why people are saying this. I mean, honestly, I don't know whether it's staged. I'm joking. It could be, might not be, but it seems highly suspect to me. I saw a image of Trump behind the curtains, like watching. I don't know if you guys saw it. He's just like watching. Like if it was real, he would have ran away. Anyway,
here's the thing.
Distraction. This is a distraction.
Before Mark says something, I want to just say one thing, because other people are like, oh, that was fake. There was no real gunshots. Look at the people in the room. They didn't respond. For those of us who cover events like that or have been in events that are outside, sometimes people immediately do not know how to distinguish between a loud sign, a gunshot, or fireworks. And in this day that we're living in, people's reaction to move is not as quickly as I've seen it when I was growing up. A lot of people will just stay there and capture things and not even be aware of the danger that they might be in it. I mean, look at how many people have killed themselves just trying to take a selfie. You're not, like you're so in your camera, you're not really present in your surroundings. So I just wanted to make that note. And I'm wondering how mainstream media felt and what was there, because a lot of people, it was an uncomfortable experience for many. So I pray everybody's okay. And it's unfortunate that we're living in these times where we do have to practice situational awareness, and please be careful out there wherever you are, in an event or just walking down the street. Just please be careful out there.
It also happens to happen at an event where it's mostly media and influencers, so it's guaranteed to go viral. And yes, their first instinct is to shoot a viral as opposed to worrying about being shot.
Yeah, that's their main reason for life. Like they want to capture the viral moment.
And if you're there, Cozy, and you just automatically jump under the table and it's nothing, I'm making fun of you afterwards. Oh, Cozy, yeah,
They caught a
you
few
jumped under
people.
the table.
Who did they catch? They were making fun of several people. Who was it? They had a picture of somebody like running away.
Yeah,
I would have been in the picture taking some bottles home.
It was somebody using his pregnant wife as a shield, they said.
Wow.
Did you see the lady that was getting roasted because she took some bottles home?
That's the move. That's what I would have done.
But you know what? I mean, first of all, we don't even know if she took the bottles home. No, but check this out. If you see what some people are paying for to be at those tables, and then it got disrupted. I'm taking the bottles. I'm taking some flowers. I'm like, my meal got disrupted. I'm gonna enjoy it at the hotel. So
Yep.
I'm not even upset that lady did that. Wise on her.
Yeah,
but yeah.
The fact that he was staying at the hotel is another thing that's weird because, like, he's staying at a hotel where the president is going to be at. Like, you figure, like, that would be something that would trigger some type of an investigation. Like, when you're staying, certain types of events, like the day that I met the president, I had to, get a ticket and I had to get a background check done and stuff well in advance so they know everyone who was attending that event. So it's not like you just, Trump rallies and stuff like that, people could just show up even though they tell you to get a ticket in advance. No one actually checks tickets or anything at those things. So people can show up for that. But when it comes to an event at a venue, like a smaller venue, not like a stadium or rally or something like that, and there's generally a background check involved. So the fact that he was able to stay at the hotel that's very weird. But then again, he doesn't have any necessary. I mean, he's a teacher. There's nothing. I don't know. I don't know whether that's a ploy towards more surveillance in the future. Like, like Cozy said, he put these other things out there, so maybe this manifesto and all that stupid stuff, everything just seems so weird. I would be surprised if it wasn't staged. Let's long story short, that's my take.
Okay, and I just want to tell you, go to Cozy's Wellness on X because I'm super shadow banned that nobody can see me at all. So I need you guys to go to Cozy's Wellness on X, okay? And I need you to engage with this right here. Okay, I did a post. Oh,
John Cena.
Go to my latest post, okay? And it's right here. New York is trying to mandate hepatitis B vaccine for college. Okay, I want you to take that. It's a little cartoon I made, and I want you to repost that. Repost it and send this to your stupid representative, okay? And tell them that if they don't stop, they're going to see us very soon, and we're going to embarrass them. And don't make me make flyers like I did the last couple of years, people.
We're going to have to make special outreach flyers.
I'm going to make you ugly, like in a cartoon, ugly face, and I'm going to post it all over your neighborhood, and we're going to embarrass the shit out of you. So keep it up, keep messing with us, and you're going to get famous.
Well, I have one more video before we ramp, and we're switching the subject. Are we done with the White House Correspondents' dinner reactions? Okay. One more thing, because, Mom Donnie and his latest announcement, and I made a little video about it. I don't like that he's calling it a grand experiment, but here's a little video featuring everyone's favorite
Kami.
Grand experiment once again. New York City, it is time for a grand experiment once again. Just as LaGuardia used government to respond to the challenges of the Great Depression, we will use government to respond to rising prices and unaffordable groceries.
Free bodegas, free groceries. They fucking Cuba.
During our campaign, we promised New Yorkers that we would create a network of city-owned grocery stores, one in each borough. The city will subsidize a core set of staples. A private operator will run the store, but they answer to the standards that the city will set. Bread will be cheaper. Eggs will be cheaper. Grocery shopping will no longer be an unsolvable equation. And workers will be treated with dignity. This is what we mean by a new era. When New Yorkers are being priced out of their groceries, government will step in and deliver affordability.
And this is where the first city-owned grocery store is announced to be built. Raul Rivera, he represents New Yorkers that are simply unhappy with socialism creeping up here in New York City.
The people of Cuba are starving for real. Run on the tower, run! Walking on the street, look at the sidewalk. Caballo de Troya!
So let me see.
Caballo de Troya!
I'm a native New Yorker. Our advocacy started with the taxi drivers. We tried our best with the taxi drivers and the elected officials, and slowly you learn these elected officials are not with you. They're not with you. So this is nothing but a continuation. We don't have nothing personal against this radical mayor, but this is a continuation of our advocacy, fighting for New York City.
There is a lot of food insecurity. New York City prices. It is really hard to live in New York City, to be honest. I'm not sure if this is the solution, but it's a solution.
This is America. It's gonna get tough. It's gonna get hard, but not for us. Not for us. Not for us.
Okay, words from Raul Rivera. Let me tell you something. It's a bunch of us. It's usually the same bunches of us out there fighting for New York, for the city that we love. And a lot of us know each other in these streets, and sometimes we're having side fights with each other. But ultimately, we all love New York. And so I have to just say, I appreciate anyone that is defending her.
I agree.
Because she needs defense.
Listen, Raul Rivera, I might not agree with him on some things, but you know, I give him credit for what he's doing. He's being a squeaky wheel. He's, doing the work. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, so that's
even though you voted for Cuomo, it's all good, brother.
Ay, Dios mío.
It's all good. Listen. The fact that you're doing this is great. So shout out to you.
Let's end it on a good note. I say I do not want to be a part of the grand experiment. Do you have the primaries coming up in June? And if you don't want more socialism, don't vote for the socialists.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You're not smart.
Because a lot of them are
You're
coming
not
in.
smart. It doesn't work.
Mark, any closing thoughts? Anything you'd like to add to the pot as we start closing out the show?
Socialism works until you run out of other people's money, as Margaret Thatcher once said, and you're not the first. Like young people think of socialism as a good idea because they look at all these rich people out of jealousy, and they look at the corporate greed. It's like, let's focus on what we do have in common, because corporations are greedy, and a lot of Republicans are what's called populists, where we know that these corporations are greedy, and the Democrats agree with that. So let's forget about what's dividing us, like abortion and gun control and all these other issues, and let's talk about what unites us. Yes, these corporations are evil, so let's focus on how we could do that without the answer just being tax the rich, because that doesn't actually solve anything. Mamdani will get companies to leave New York, and there will be less jobs, and it doesn't work the way that people actually think. So for the message to any young people who happen to wander upon this podcast and look at it as hate and wait for Cozy or myself to say something so they could save a clip for if I run for office in the future again, or whatever reason you might be listening to us, you are not the first generation of young people to think you will have it all figured out, and then you get older and you realize you had no clue what the fuck you were talking about. Okay, it happens. Ronald Reagan said he was a liberal once until he reached the age of reason. It is not new. I had some liberal tendencies when I was younger. I thought Obama would have made a good president in 2008. I didn't vote for him for what, I was always a registered Republican. He was a good speaker. He seemed like he made sense. Some of these liberal ideas made sense to me when I was younger. Most of them didn't. But so that's just an example. Like, you get older and you realize you were wrong. Older people are not like the old age, and you guys are young and hip and new, and you got it all figured out, and this is the way. No, it's not the way. You just don't know what you're talking about. And I know that's hard for you to comprehend, and there's the stubborn mindset, but you're not the first generation of young people to think that socialism is going to work.
Yeah, your schools
Fortunately,
failed you. Your schools failed you. Your university failed you. They
yes.
lied to you.
Yes, and that socialism has taken over the education system, and it's a long-term plan, and it's always been a long-term plan. Socialism does not happen overnight, but when it does, it kills more people than any virus ever has. Communism
Let
has
me tell you
killed more
something.
people than anything.
Let me tell you guys something, okay? You young people out there, if you happen to be listening, who's gonna pay for this? Like, first of all, how fast is this store gonna sell out? What, they're just gonna open the doors and then it's gonna be raided in one day? They're saying that they're gonna treat people with dignity. What are they gonna give them, $30 an hour? And that sounds great. I would love for everybody to make a lot of money, right? It would be great, but it doesn't work that way, because what's gonna happen is, this is a government sponsored, right, subsidized store. What's gonna happen to the mom and pop stores? They're gonna have to compete. The whole goal of this is not because they care about you. Mamdani doesn't give a crap about you. You know what he wants to do? He's been installed to bankrupt all the mom and pops, to disrupt capitalism, which they hate, and they're going to be left with just government programs. And like Raul Rivera just said back there, look at Cuba. They are starving. They've been starving, okay? Because of government-run programs. It's not going to help people. Get it out of your heads. They've lied to you. They've abused your brain, and you have no idea what you're talking about. They're going to hurt you. Zoran is going to hurt you. He's going to hurt your family. He's going to hurt the economy. Everybody's going to, I'm telling you, people are going to feel the pain. Okay? I'm not saying this because I'm a prophet. I'm not saying this because I'm a psychic. I'm saying this because it's common sense, math, and economics. And look at history, and history shows you that these people will abuse you. Just stop it. You have to work hard for what you get. Okay? You can't take other people's money. Government is not a handout. Government means you're stealing from me. You're stealing from her. You're stealing from him. It's theft, and theft abuses.
That's right.
I'm sorry. When I say communism kills people, you think like communism is going to kill the people that disagree with them, like myself, for example. And that is the case, but that's not the majority of deaths. A lot of it is from starvation, like you see in Cuba and other communist countries. People starve to death because there's, bread lines and waiting online for food and waiting for, not having work and all of these other things. So it starts with a simple-minded idea that seems like it makes sense to simple-minded people, like, government-run stores and things are going to be cheaper. Like, that's not, that's going to take other people and put them out of business, and then next thing you know, everything is government run, and then next thing you know, it's the lines, and next thing you know, they run out by the time you get there and you don't have any food to eat for your family. It starts out with one thing, and it slowly but surely destroys the country from within, and we have to fight to not let it happen in America. And that goes with you not staying home and going out and voting and going out in the streets to rallies and doing what you can to make a difference.
Amen. Thank you. And thank you everyone who's been chiming in on the comments. Shout out to Robert from El Bronx.
Robert White, let's
Roberto.
go.
Lisa says, God bless you all. Be blessed. God's got us all. God already won. Pray without ceasing. Thank you, Lisa. God bless you.
Hi,
DVS.
Lisa.
Shout out to DVS who reposted the stream. We take any love that we can get. This is community by community for community, and
Check out his music, official DVS 7.0. Go check
that's
him out on
right.
Spotify. Go download his music.
Shout out to DVS. Also Dan wrote Joy. That's the type of accountability Albany needs. I'm not sure if she's referring to Joy, our sister, or Shannon Joy, since we were talking about the governor's race. Yeah, and I know Robert was saying a store owner said something, but he gave us a great shout out. Cheers to you guys, the number one best podcast with the freedom fighters of New York.
Nice.
I thank you. You love us. You really love us. That's gonna be my wave when we're on the New York Freedom Fighter podcast float across the parades. I'm just kidding.
It's time for us to float up to space now and go.
Get involved, people. Stop these mandates.
We have to go continue our mission to Mars. Goodbye,
I'm going
everyone.
to have to design our cafecito spaceship. What happened? Mark started going to the moon without us.
I kicked my tripod, my two-legged tripod.
Oh my God.
All right, people.
We're delirious. We love you. We'll see you next Monday, 8 p.m. And we'll close out with the show that we want, the theme song we want you to remember for always.
And ladies and gentlemen, please support Cafecito Break. Tell them where they can donate. Do you have a Substack? Do you have any place you want them to go? Let them know.
Cafecitobreak.org. You could Venmo. We also still have our GoFundMe, which is specifically just to support indie media and our travel and expenses and any equipment upgrades that we might be able to get. Because, yeah, whether or not we got the monies, the job still continues because this is work that needs to be done.
She takes silver bars too and gold bars.
I welcome gold bars.
Silver,
Lots
gold.
of them.
Bring some gold.
Lots of them. Thank you, mi gente. God bless you.
well.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Cozy. Thank you, Michael Kane. Thank you, everyone who listens to us, and see you next Monday. Have a powerful week. Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Angelo.